My respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, we gather to reflect on a painful yet important question. Why are there so many conflicts among Muslims? Why do we, the followers of one book, one prophet letter F, DFA, and one Qibla, find ourselves divided into groups, arguing, and sometimes even fighting among ourselves? My dear brothers and sisters, the answer lies not in the message of Islam, but in our distance from it. The Qur'an clearly says, "And hold firmly to the rope of Allah altogether and do not be divided." Surah Al-Imran 3:103. This verse alone should have been enough to unite us. Yet, we see differences everywhere in beliefs, practices, and interpretations. The reason is simple. We have started holding on to the ropes of people instead of the rope of Allah. We follow personalities more than the Qur'an and Sunnah. We argue over small matters while forgetting the larger purpose of Islam, to worship Allah alone and to live as one Ummah. Another major reason for our conflicts is ignorance. Many Muslims do not study Islam directly from authentic sources. They rely on traditions, culture, or hearsay. When ignorance spreads, it becomes easy for misunderstanding and division to grow. Each group begins to think they alone are right, and others are wrong. But Islam teaches us humility, to seek knowledge, to respect differences, and to avoid arrogance. Brothers and sisters, another cause is love for power and leadership. In many cases, people divide themselves for authority, fame, or worldly gain, not for the sake of Allah. But we must remember, Islam came to unite hearts, not to divide them. The Prophet Muhammad letter F, DFA said, "A believer to another believer is like a building, each part strengthening the other." When a wall is strong, it stands firm, but if its bricks separate, the whole structure collapses. That is what is happening to us as an Ummah today. We are like scattered bricks, strong individually but weak together. So what is the solution? The solution is simple yet powerful. Return to the Quran and the authentic teachings of the Prophet letter F, DFA. Stop judging others based on sect or school of thought. Focus on what unites us, the oneness of Allah, the love of our Prophet letter F, DFA, and the mission to spread peace and justice. We must learn to disagree with respect, not with hatred. We can have different opinions, but our hearts must remain united. Remember, unity does not mean uniformity. It means standing together despite our differences for the sake of Allah. In the end, we must ask ourselves, do we want to win arguments, or do we want to please Allah? Because the more we divide, the weaker we become. And the weaker we become, the easier it is for others to harm us. My dear brothers and sisters, Islam is a religion of peace, not conflict. It teaches us to love for our brothers what we love for ourselves. The Quran reminds us again and again, the believers are but one brotherhood. So let us stop fighting among ourselves and start building the unity our beloved Prophet letter FA dreamed of. May Allah guide us all to hold firmly to His rope, to purify our intentions, and to make us one united Ummah once again. Jazak Allahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Distance from the Qur'an and Sunnah is one of the greatest reasons for division and conflict among Muslims today. When Muslims begin to drift away from the original sources of guidance, their understanding of Islam becomes weak and mixed with culture, personal opinions, and innovations. The Qur'an and Sunnah were sent to unite the believers on one straight path, but when people neglect them, they create their own interpretations and practices that lead to disputes. The Quran clearly guides believers to hold firmly to the rope of Allah, meaning His revelation, and to avoid division, but as time passed, many Muslims replaced divine knowledge with inherited customs or the teachings of individuals rather than Allah's words and the Prophet's authentic Sunnah. This distance creates confusion as people begin to prioritize sectarian identity over the true essence of Islam. Without the Qur'an and Sunnah as the main reference, every group claims to follow the truth, while in reality, all have moved away from the same source that was meant to unite them. The result is disagreement, hatred, and separation among those who should be brothers and sisters in faith. The Prophet let RFDFA warned that his Ummah would divide, but he also said the successful ones are those who follow his path and that of his companions. Therefore, when Muslims reconnect with the Qur'an and Sunnah, they find clarity, wisdom, and balance that remove misunderstanding and disputes. But when they distance themselves, the light of unity fades and the shadows of division take over their hearts and societies. Ignorance and following personalities instead of truth are major causes of conflict among Muslims. When people lack proper knowledge of Islam, they depend on what they hear from others without verifying it from authentic sources. This ignorance leads them to accept opinions blindly, even when they contradict the Qur'an and Sunnah. Many Muslims begin to follow scholars, leaders, or famous figures based on emotions or personal attachment rather than the evidence they provide. When individuals start giving more importance to people than to divine guidance, differences quickly turn into disputes. Each group begins to defend its leader or school of thought instead of seeking what Allah and His Messenger letter FDFA have commanded. This behavior creates division, pride, and arrogance, as people compete over who is right instead of learning from one another. Islam teaches humility and the pursuit of knowledge as protection from error. A true believer does not follow blindly, but seeks evidence and understanding. When Muslims abandon this principle, they become trapped in endless arguments and lose sight of the real message of unity, justice, and brotherhood that Islam promotes through knowledge and sincerity. Unity can only be achieved by returning to authentic Islamic teachings found in the Qur'an and Sunnah. When Muslims base their beliefs and actions on these true sources, differences naturally decrease and understanding grows. The Qur'an provides clear principles of unity, justice, and brotherhood, while the Sunnah of the Prophet letter FDFA demonstrates how to apply those teachings in daily life. Throughout history, the Muslim Ummah was strongest when it remained close to these foundations and weakest when it strayed from them. Unity does not mean that everyone must think exactly the same, but that all Muslims should share the same core belief in Allah, His Messenger, and the guidance revealed to them. Returning to authentic teachings also means removing innovations, cultural distortions, and political influences that have divided the Ummah. When Muslims study and practice Islam sincerely for the sake of Allah, hearts become purified, respect increases, and conflicts begin to fade. The message of Islam emphasizes cooperation, mercy, and brotherhood, not pride or competition. A united Ummah based on truth and knowledge can become strong, peaceful, and successful in spreading the message of Islam to the world.